promise bitter harvest tonight. Cocoa farmers express outrage as a supposed 63% hike in cocoa prices leave them with just 4% increase in actual earnings.
Currently, with the pricing, the farmers are not happy with the current price that has been given. They are not, because at least what they were expecting was to get, let's say, like 4,000 Ghana cedis. That was the meat.
We'll hear from the minority in parliament who say farmers have been fleeced.
And when Atuforsen and President Mahama increased by a bag of cocoa, how much have they increased? At the end of the day, that is the analysis everybody. Their own words are coming back to haunt them. They said a lot of things that were not backed by data.
We have details here on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. Well, cocoa farmers are up in arms over the government's recent announcement of a 63% increase in the producer price of cocoa, claiming the actual boost to their earnings will be a meager 4%. Despite Finance Minister Dr. Kesela Tofosun's assertion that a new price fulfills President John Mahama's promise to give farmers 70% of the free on-board value, farmers feel the announcement falls short of their expectations. The minister explains that the price hike, which raises the producer price from $3,100 to $5,040 per ton, reflects the government's commitment to supporting cocoa farmers. However, farmers argue that rising production costs and the appreciation of the city have eaten into the gains. First, listen to the Finance Minister, Kesela Tofosun, on the increment, insisting the government has fulfilled its promise to cocoa farmers.
The government has, by this decision, increased the producer price significantly by 62.58% in US dollar terms. This increase in the producer price represents 70% of the gross free on board value of $7,200 per ton, and aligns with the NDC's manifesto and President Mahama's promise to pay the cocoa farmer 70% of the FOB price. It is significant to note that for the 2024 and 2025 crop season, the previous administration set an FOB value of 4,850 per ton of cocoa, and the producer price at $3,100 US per ton, representing 63.9% of the FOB price, even though the world market price at the time was much better than today. And for emphasis, between 2024 and 2025, the previous administration set the FOB value at 4,000.
So that is the Finance Minister Dr. Kesela Tofosun there explaining the rationale behind the price hike for cocoa per ton, saying that it fulfills the president's commitment, towards fulfilling that particular promise that he made to them. But these announcements have done little to placate the farmers. My colleague Isaac Kofi has been poring over the numbers and joins me in studio with some more details. Kofi, first, let's start from the top. What was the international price of cocoa a year ago, and where does it stand now?
Well, so Kojo, it is important to put out that this is the first time that government is announcing cocoa producer price of cocoa in dollars, where the actual change in cedi term was missing in that press release that was put out by the Finance Ministry. Usually you see the announcement in cedis, but this time around government decided to announce it in dollars. And according to them, they are increasing the producer price from the $3,100 per ton last season to $5,040 per ton. If you do the math, this is expected to give you some 62 close to about 63% in terms of the producer price in dollar terms. But in real terms, that is, if you bring that change in cedi terms, we are just talking about 4.1% increment in the producer price of cocoa, Kojo, and that will give farmers additional 128 cedis. Of course, we understand in cedi term per bag, right? So that 3,100 Ghana cedis you were getting per bag, now you get 3,228 cedis. So that 62 point or close about 63% announcement that was done in dollar terms, which many were expecting, or farmers were expecting at least they could get 4,000 cedis per bag. It was a bit disappointing that they only got 3,228 cedis. And government's argument was that simply because of the exchange rate situation, we gave you that 3,100 Ghana cedis when the cedi was 16 cedis to the dollar. Now it's about 10 cedis, 25%. So government itself is struggling. There has to be burden sharing. Of course, we've gone ahead to give you 70% of the FOB price or the global price. But in actual terms, farmers are getting 128 cedis per every bag of cocoa they sell next season.
So remind us again, what's the international price per ton?
The international price currently, if you look at what we are getting today, it started the day around $7,400 per bag. Just, I mean, when we were coming to the studio, we checked and it's dropped to $7,200 dollars per bag. And government is giving farmers 5,040. So you can actually calculate the difference between the FOB price and the international price. But government's argument is that because of the appreciation of the cedi, they are struggling on one side, and that is why they have to do burden sharing with the farmers.
Now, with inflation, labor cost, and the appreciation of the cedi in play, I mean, are cocoa farmers really better off than they were last season?
In fact, we need to track this back as far back as, let's say, the last 5 seasons, and let's see how cocoa prices have actually been increased. So we take it from the 2022-2023 seasons where government increased the price by just 140 cedi per bag. So this is not the first time that government is increasing cocoa price by that margin, right, in terms of the price per bag. Then comes to 2023-2024 where government then increases to 580 cedis per bag. I mean, in terms of the rate of increase, the original price increased by 508 cedis per bag. Then comes that same year, 2023-2024.
So there were 2 increments in the
two
same
increments in that season. First increment was somewhere around 508, and then government comes again to increase by 762. Then the last season, 2024-2025, 930 Ghana cedis increment. First, in terms of the first increment, and then you have again government increasing by 100 Ghana cedis.
So cumulatively in that year, that was 1,030.
1,030. That was what sent cocoa prices to that 3,100. But the finance minister's argument is that this was done when the exchange rate was 16 cedis to the dollar. Now we are talking about 10 cedis, 25 pesos, which means that although the global, the FOB price will be increased, the producer price will be increased by close to about 63%. In actual terms, farmers will only get 4.1% simply because of the appreciation of the cedi. So the original 3,100 you were enjoying at a cedi rate of 16 cedis has actually shrunk, and that's giving you that difference of 128 cedis addition to what you already get.
This increment is 63%, not 70%.
It's not 70%. Government is giving farmers 70% of the free on board price. But the increment in dollar terms is 62 or 63%. But farmers in actual terms are only getting 4.1% increment in the price per bag that they will sell in this season. Grateful
to you, Isaac Ofori. Now, the minority in parliament believes they are getting the last laugh, taunting the government over what they call a deceptive price announcement. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kojo says farmers are being fleeced under the guise of a policy breakthrough.
What the farmer on the market in Ofori is asking himself, what was the price of a bag of cocoa before this announcement, and what is the price of the bag of cocoa after this announcement? We are just working the numbers right now. We've just come out of the meeting. We've seen percentages, and they are using the dollar. The NDC, what they do is that they try to always hide the truth. So you have to take your time, work the numbers. But the most important thing, and I encourage all of you in your newsrooms to do, pick the CD value of a bag of cocoa on the market today, compare it to the new price they have announced, and see. Somebody's telling me that the change is about 100 cedis or something. Yes. So please, if the change is 128 cedis, ask yourself, the last time Akufo-Addo increased a bag of cocoa, how much did he increase it by? And when Atuforsen and President Mahama increased by a bag of cocoa, how much have they increased? At the end of the day, that is the analysis everybody. Their own words are coming back to haunt them. They said a lot of things that were not backed by data. Now they are in power, everybody's expecting them to live by it, and they are coming up with all sorts of excuses. You increase cocoa per bag by 128 Ghana cedis. Assuming these analyses we are hearing are correct, let me put that caveat in, and you want people to clap for you.
This is Top Story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. Let's get onto the lines now and bring in Nana Obuade. He is the Farmer General of Concerned Farmers Association, Nana Obuade Boating Bonsu. He's joining us on the phone. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, this must be good news for you that government indeed said, I would give you 70% of the FOB and has gone ahead to do same for you, right?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and then your listeners across the world. I'm so surprised that Parliament is talking about this cocoa price issue. Parliament have no moral right even to come in so far as cocoa is concerned, because when cocoa was being destroyed, our forest was being destroyed, Galamsey taking a center space within the cocoa industry. None of them, as I'm speaking to you, European Union has raised a red flag on us. Very soon our cocoa will be banned. And talking about the price, you all know the CD, how the CD has gained strength and then the dollar is coming down. So at the end of the day, we are not expecting to get higher as it claimed to be. That is what others have to know. And then the price also has discouraged a lot of farmers. As I'm speaking to you, there's a lot of tension and pressure on me. Others want to cut down their cocoa tree and then move away to go for the rubber plantation because the rubber is making a lot of money for them. And this is what is happening. And this is the situation on the ground. I first said it when I was on the roundtable discussion and Felix Owusu-Kwakye came. I told him that there was something that the president has to know. And up to now, they've not even approached or even asked what is it at all that the president has to know. As I'm speaking to you, our cocoa industry has collapsed. That is all.
But Nana, jumping from $3,100 to $5,040 is a huge jump, not so?
What is the gap that we are talking about? How much is the bag that we are talking about? You get it? They made promise, and the promise that they made has entered into the ears of the farmers. And now the farmers are calling for the 6,000 Ghana cedi per bag that they mentioned earlier on. But at the end of the day, all of us also have to know that the dollar issue has affected the way. That is why we are having 3,200 and something. And now the farmers are not happy. A lot of them are not happy. All because, one, they were thinking that they are going to make a lot of money out of it. But now, they are not getting it.
So what do you farmers intend to do about this?
Well, we, the concerned farmers and advocacy group, we try to strengthen and empower the farmers and what the farmers are saying. As I'm speaking to you, when you get to the Prisia-Winnie Valley area, almost 200 and something acres will be going down very soon, all because the farmers, they have made up their mind that they are no more interested in the cocoa again. So they are cutting down their cocoa and plant rubber because it is business. Nobody wants to do business and lose. Because at the end of the day, when I'm doing something that I'm not getting any money out of it, and then somebody is doing other one, and then he's taking money, I'll shift from that side and then go to the other side. And Parliament was there. Parliament saw everything, what was happening. And none of them even stood up and said something about it. They were destroying our forest, doing the cocoa, the galamsey and other things. And as I told you, there's a red flag on our cocoa production. Very soon, they will not buy our cocoa again. So farmers are also thinking a different way to shift from the cocoa production and get to the rubber plantation. That is where they can make a living. And that is what is happening now.
But if you say you want $6,000 and they are getting $7,000, if government gives you $6,000, won't you be fleecing government? Do you think it's realistic that government can give you $6,000?
Well, it is not what we are not claiming that we want $6,000. I'm talking about per bag that I'm talking about. Right? They said that they will give a bag of cocoa 6,000 per bag, right? And then we all know that at that time, then the dollar was 17 Ghana cedis. And now the dollar is no more 17 Ghana cedis. And it has affected the pricing of the cocoa. So in this case, the farmer will not get the kind of price that he wants. That is the issue.
All right, do stay with me. Let me bring in the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament, Kojo Ponkruma, who's joining us via phone. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, government is referring to the gains the economy has made, especially on the dollar exchange front, and saying that, well, it used to be 16 cedis to the dollar. Now it is 10.25. Isn't that justified enough for government to say that we're giving you just around 128 cedis increment per bag?
Good evening, Samuel, to Nano Body and to your listeners. I mean, if you go by that argument, then the finance minister is actually telling the people of Ghana that the 6,000 cedis per bag he claimed was the right price last year, if it had been set, today he will be announcing to cocoa farmers that he has reduced cocoa price per bag from 6,000 to 3,228. I'm not even sure that the NDC chairman in his constituency will believe this story. That today he would have announced that he has reduced it from the 6,000 he claimed it should have been to 3,228. I mean, let's credit ourselves with some basic intelligence. That is not possible. That's not the argument here. Secondly, today for the first time they are quoting prices in dollars. The trend has been that you tell the cocoa farmer what he will get in cedis per bag at the farm gate. And in fact, a few days ago, the finance minister in parliament said that the president had instructed that local contracts should not be quoted in dollars. So what has changed? It is part of the effort to mask the truth. I keep telling you that the NDC government is fond of masking the truth by calling things different names just so that they can hoodwink you. They bring an 8% levy, they tell you it's 1 cedi per liter. They bring a loan of $360 million, they tell you it's a financing program. If you don't open your eyes, they will deceive you. Again, the NDC in opposition told us, in fact, when they came to power, the vetting of my brother Atoforsen, check the video, he says that part of the problem is that Cocoa Board is not adjusting their expenses. And they are carrying on all sorts of things that they should rather leave to the farmer to do. Today in his announcement, he's announcing to do all of those things. Where are the cuts that he was promising they should be cutting? But more importantly, the NDC did not promise to price cocoa based on FOB. I'm shocked that people are pretending they don't remember. They said that we should be using spot prices. When they, the last time, were challenging the 3,100 Ghana cedis per bag, they were arguing that it should be spot prices. Today, all of a sudden, they've run away from the framework that they announced. They said you use spot prices. They said that at the end of the day, they were of the view that it should be 6,000 Ghana cedis. Today, they've run away from it. They are actually even using an exchange rate different from the official exchange rate today. Today's rate is 10.5.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They are using 10.5 to do the computation today.
The rate is 10.25.
Yes, they are using 10.5 to do the computation today. Today is 10.5. They are using 10.25 to do the computation today. And I'm saying to you that they are just going around in circles, having been caught up by their own pronouncements.
Okay.
Listen, the basic question that the cocoa farmer in Ofori will ask is, what was the price last year? 3,100 Ghana cedis. The government that promised that they will do better, what are they announcing today? 3,228. What that means is that cocoa price has gone up by only 128 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
That's a 0.15% increase. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
All this grammar, if I just may finish, all this grammar and winding around, the cocoa farmer and the farm gate is asking you, what is the increase? 4.15%. What the numbers previous years, and look at the percentage increase in cocoa farm gate prices the previous years. That is the real economy in the pocket of cocoa farmers.
Okay.
As to my brother's comment that when they complained about Galamsey and its impact on cocoa, nobody gave them a listening ear. I beg you, let your producers run a check online right now. October 2022.
I rose and raised the red flag that, listen, our cocoa may soon not go to Europe and that we may suffer a ban even in Europe. This is 2022.
So you spoke about it. I'm grateful.
Yes,
do stay
I'm
with
challenging
me.
you. Go online. You'll find it. 4th October 2022.
I'll do so. Do stay with me. Let me bring in Dr. Randy Abe. He is CEO for Cocoa Board. Fortunately, he joins us in the studio. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, Kojo makes a point about the exchange rate you're using. You are there, so you can better educate us. What rate are you using?
10.25, and that is the average over the period provided to us by Bank of Ghana. It's the average over the period. That is what is used. It is not today's rate.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right then. Why the deviation from the spot rate you promised to the FOB you're talking about here?
Well, I have read the NDC's manifesto from first page to the last page. I've not seen any spot price in there.
Okay.
I've listened to what the NDC promised in the manifesto was 70% to the farmer, and then what His Excellency President also promised to the farmer, even on his recent tour, was 70% to the farmer. That is what I know.
Okay.
Yes, and in any case, how can you deal with spot price when you are talking about guaranteed prices? You are guaranteeing a price over a period. How then do you deal with spot price? It is an average. You strike an average over the projected price over a period.
Okay.
And that is what you use.
But so, I mean, when Kojo's point is that that's what you were saying in 2024. What has changed?
You know, you could point to an individual who said something. I am just saying that there is a manifesto of the NDC. The president of the republic himself as a candidate spoke. And he's been speaking as president.
Okay.
What he's been talking about is exactly what has been done.
Okay. All right. Why the shift from quoting the price in CD to dollars?
There's no shift. If you read the minister's statement, the minister starts from the FOB. The FOB is quoted in US dollars.
Yes.
The commodity is sold in US dollars. So the FOB is determined in US dollars. The percentage that goes to all stakeholders, including the farmer, the producer price, is in US dollars. And then you come and factor in the exchange rate. And that is what will give you the CD value. In the minister's statement, all this information is there.
Okay.
So the minister starts from the FOB, which is a dollar value. Cocoa is sold in US dollars. So how do you determine the FOB? It's in US dollars. How do you determine the farmer percentage? It's in US dollars. Then you come and apply a variable, which is the exchange rate. And that is what gives you
the CD equivalent.
the CD equivalent of what the farmer will get. And so if you check paragraphs, I think 6, 7, or 7 and 8 of the minister's statement, you would see this there.
Okay.
So it is not true that the minister quoted something in dollars. It is in the statement. If you read the minister's statement, fortunately it's on the Ministry of Finance's website and everything. It is there.
We'll pull it up.
Check paragraph 7 and 8. You will see it.
All right, we'll pull it up right now. But, farmers are not happy with this. We spoke to Nana Obuade, who's the president of the Concerned Farmers Association. He says this is not what the NDC government promised them, and they are not happy with it. Okay, good.
Well, we have engaged farmers. The farmers have representatives on the board, 2 of them. The technical committee of the Producer Price Review Committee has 4 farmers, 4 representatives of the farmers. All the stakeholders are on the technical committee that did the recommendation. We've also met all the 16 regional chief farmers. We took them through everything. And so if there's a particular farmer who says that he's not happy, or somebody who represents a group of farmers and says they are not happy, well, that is their view. But the truth of the matter is that, Chief, we have shown you the declared FOB, which is 7,200. We've given you a basis for that. We have told you that the farmer is getting 70% of that FOB, which is $5,040. In 24-25 November, the FOB that was declared even when cocoa prices were higher than today was 4,850, out of which the farmer was given 3,100, which represents 63.9%. Today, the farmer's share is $5,040, which is 70%. We have an exchange rate which is almost 5 cedis lesser, or 6 cedis lesser than it was November 2024. In November 2024, the exchange rate that was used was 16 cedis. 16 cedis. Today, the exchange rate is 10.25. So obviously, it is the FOB times the exchange rate that gives you the value. So what are we talking about?
So you feel that the Nana Obuadia group are not being, because they say farmers are not even threatening to cut down their trees and plant rubber plantation.
I don't believe so. I do not believe so. We've also gone, like I said, we have 2 farmers reps on our board. The technical committee of the PPRC had 4 farmer reps. We met the 16 regional chief farmers and took them through all the variables. Are you telling me that the farmers are not aware that for 24-25 they were giving $3,100 of an FOB of 4,800 when cocoa prices were higher than they are today, and that the farmers are not aware that today they are being given an FOB of 7,200 when prices are lower than they were last year, and that they are getting $5,040 instead of $3,100?
But again, the FOB is how much government gets from sales and not what price. So why the change in position now? I mean, you're getting FOB of 7,000 and you're giving 7,200 and you're giving farmers
70% of that, which is the highest. 70%. That's the 5,040.
So the remainder is profit for government?
No.
Okay.
You have many stakeholders. There's a buyer's margin.
Okay.
There's a haulers. There's grading and sealing. There is shipping and warehousing. You have all manner of stakeholders. And all these stakeholders have decided that to enable the farmer get 70%, we are all going to take the fees and margins that were decided for the 24-25 season. So none of these stakeholders is getting an increment. None.
So I mean, after all the deductions, how much comes to government?
Government.
Yeah.
Government doesn't get anything.
Okay, Cocoa Board.
6% maximum.
That's what you get.
Maximum
after
6%.
Deductions.
Maximum 6%.
Okay.
Don't forget that the exchange rate that was used for the 24-25 figure was 16 cedis to a dollar. From, let's say, April, when the exchange rate dropped, government asked us to maintain the price paid to the farmer. So at the time that the dollar dropped to about 10, we were paying the farmer $4,800 of an FOB of 4,850 that was declared. So the farmer share had moved from 63.9 to about 99.8%.
Okay. Doc, I'm grateful. Let me bring in Nana Obuadia for a reaction to this. Nana, so, I mean, Dr. Andiabe says that you have farmers on the board and they agree with the current pricing. Do I have Nana Obuadia on the line? Okay. Nana Obuadia, so yes.
What is really on the ground? And I'm telling him that since he is saying that there's nothing of that sort, that farmers are ready to cut down their cocoa trees for rubber, the ball is in his own court. When the time comes, he should deal with it. We, the concerned farmers, who stay out of this kind of thing. We are no more going to take a step to tell farmers not to do that. Because, listen, almost 200 million trees have been saved by we. And if he's there telling us that we are just a group of people, or maybe an individual is saying this and that is not happy, it is not we, it is the farmers. Concerned Farmers is an advocacy for cocoa farmers and all farmers across the country. We have been doing a lot of jobs across. You can ask the previous government and even ask the current and staff around. They'll let you know. And if you don't believe our report and other things, we will just stay back and then let Cocoa Board do their own thing. Because at the end of the day, we are working in the interest of the farmers.
Okay, I get it. I'm grateful to you for joining. Let me bring in Kojo Ponkroma, who is, the...
very soon our cocoa will be back.
So the CEO is saying that if you look at the exchange rate they used, the gains in the economy, this makes sense, which, I mean, counters the argument you were putting up earlier.
Hello?
Kojo, you're on.
Yes. So, I mean, first, I can sympathize with my brother Randy. He didn't make those promises in opposition. Now he has to try and rationalize the failure to implement that promise to the cocoa farmer. I'm mentioning the name of the one who made these promises. His name is Kesiel Ato Forson, He was then spokesperson on the economy, became a minority leader. He's now finance minister. Even at his vetting, he kept repeating these same lines, including the 6,000. So I can understand Randy's dilemma because he didn't make those promises, and he takes solace in the argument that it's not in the manifesto. Well, I'm mentioning to you the name of the person who has made these promises, and he's a senior member of the manifesto committee of the NDC of the government. In any case, I don't understand why Randy will say that prices today are lower than they were at the time. Are we talking spot prices, or we're talking the averages that he was previously talking about? The most important thing, and it breaks my heart to hear that Randy will say that they have 2 reps on the committee. So if those people have agreed and farmers today are complaining, that it is their own opinion. I don't think so.
But the 2 people represent the interests of farmers on the board, not so.
Oh, when these 2 people in the boardroom take the allowances and tell you it's okay, and the farmers on the ground, like Obadia is telling you, are telling you that this is not satisfactory to them, don't dismiss the view of the farmers. But here's my concluding point. The most important part of this equation, and I want to respectfully ask you, Kojo Brace, send your reporters to the cocoa growing areas. Randy says, and I saw photos, etc., of him engaging with farmers. I don't dispute that. He says they've spoken to them, so they believe that the farmers should be okay with this. Send your reporters into the cocoa growing areas and let them tell you whether they think a 128 cedi increment in the price of cocoa at a time when spot prices today of cocoa as compared to spot prices a year ago do not reflect a 4% increase. Please go and find out whether the farmers are pleased with what is happening today. The NDC today is caught up by their own promises and their own words. They claimed that a year ago we should have been paying 6,000. And if you have to follow the argument, then what they mean is that should that have happened today, they will be announcing a reduction of cocoa price per bag from 6,000 cedis to 3,220.
But they also say the economic conditions have improved.
Say again?
They also say the economic conditions have improved. For example, the dollar to the cedi, massive improvement there, which of course they cite.
They also said, when in opposition and even at my brother Ato's vetting, the Cocoa Board has burdened itself with so many purchases and other encumbrances in the value chain that it should not be doing. And that as much of the spot price as possible should be made available to the farmer back home. Today, they are still doing the same thing. They are still doing those interventions. So which one should we take?
I'm grateful.
I tell you that the most important test is what the farmer at the farm gate thinks.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you. Kojo Ponkruma is ranking member, Economy and Development Committee. Dr. Randy Abe is still here, Doc. So that's...
First of all, I can understand Kojo, the politician. Look, Kojo, is $3,100 better than $5,040? Is that the argument we're making? Is that the argument that is being made? Is a stronger cedi a negative thing for the Ghanaian economy? You know, if the exchange rate was at 16 cedis, the 5,040 would have been 80,600. It would have been 80,600 if the exchange rate was 16 cedis. That's what the 5,040 would have been. Why are we making it look as if a stronger cedi is negative as far as the Ghanaian is concerned? The truth of the matter is that we sell the thing in dollars, and let Kojo know that whether it is spot pricing or average, last year was better than this year. If you check spot price today, 7.4. Check the spot price at the time that this thing was made. And I'm saying that you declared an FOB of $4,850, out of which you give the farmer 3.1. Even when the prices are relatively lower than last year, we've declared an FOB of 7,200, out of which the farmer is getting 5,040, which is 70%. It is the exchange rate, that 16 that was used in November and 10.25 today. It is because we have a relatively stronger, a much, much stronger currency. Why will anybody want to play around it? Now, if anybody told you that, so if you were a watcher of the news and you looked at the pricing, averagely was around 8,000, and you hear that the farmer is giving 3,100, what will be your reaction? Did you ever, as a journalist, did you ever hear that there was a rollover of 333,000 tons? That Cocoa Board had sold 333,000 tons for 2,600. And that is what was affecting the pricing for 24-25. Were you ever told that? This is was something that Cocoa Board hid from everybody. And that is why it was 4,850, because in 23-24, Cocoa Board signed contracts for cocoa that it could not deliver. Not 30,000, 333,767 tons. Sold at 2,600. So in 24-25, we were using high price cocoa to pay for 2,600. And that is what brought the weighted average down. We have done about 230,000 and we are taking on 100,000 to 25-26. That is what also has affected the weighted average. But we are doing a 7.2 instead of 4,850. So we are reeling from that 333,000 sold at 2.6 in 23-24 that we couldn't supply. And so we are using high price cocoa to pay for this, and that affects the weighted average. That is what they are not telling the farmer.
Grateful to you, Dr. Randy.
In any case, if he talks about cut, didn't you hear the finance minister announce that all the road projects are moving to this thing? Cocoa Board's exposure to cocoa roads was 21 billion. When the entire Ministry of Roads, with all its road agencies, was talking about 67 billion.
Grateful to you. Dr. Randy Abe is the CEO of the Ghana Cocoa Board. This has been Top Story. Up next is Newsnight.
And we have the countdown to the Akotia by-election, with the NDC just electing its parliamentary candidate, setting the stage for a showdown with opposition MPP Solomon Asumedu on September 2nd. We'll bring you more on this developing story. Also tonight, minority on the Economic Committee in Parliament is blaming the banks for Forex shortage.
The argument from the traders that they are not getting the dollars. And so they are beginning to suspect that the banks are not trading all that they have to trade, or that some of the banks may be holding Forex in their nostro accounts.
We have the latest for you. I will bring you details as the central bank begins a probe into the claims. Also tonight, cheating scandal rocks Ashanti region with 76 schools implicated in various forms of examination malpractices as authorities call for urgent action to restore academic integrity in the region. We speak to the West Africa Examination Council and the Ghana Education Service about the worrying trend.
I will also tell you how the demand for 2 to 3 years rent advance has forced a father of 3 to raise his ever-expanding family in one of Accra's most neglected slums, where he faces the possibility of eviction every single day.
Once I try renting and they said for the least I can get is 200 cedis, and he is taking 3 years. I'm going to get that money from. I'm really tired. I'm really tired of staying here.
We have business.
And government rolls out additional measures to support cocoa farmers after announcing an increase in the producer price to 3,228 Ghana cedis.
And in sports, defending champions BBNE Gold Stars to begin title defense against Bechem United, with Asante Kotoko facing a trip to Brecum Chelsea as GFA released 2025-26 GPL fixtures.
And I'll take your views and comments together with Pal here on Newsnight. Send it to me at 05511119997. Details up to this.
Money day, big money day, where too much money day. Telecel Too Much Money promo drop. If you dial *500#, then join them for the Telecel Too Much Money promo inside. You will win 100 Ghana cedis cash for the daily draws, 20,000 Ghana cedis for the weekly draws, then 1.2 million Ghana cedis for the grand draw inside. That be 1.2 million Ghana cedis. You for just reload airtime, then get points where they make you win. Make you dial *500# or go the Telecel Play up top. Then book inside riders give the Telecel Too Much Money promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This promo will be NLA where they regulate them for the Caritas Lottery platform top.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me die with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
In our first story tonight, private legal practitioner Bernard Bediako-Baidu has emerged as the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Akotia by-election. He secured the ticket by garnering 380 votes, defeating his closest rival, Erasmus Kone Ali. With the NDC ticket in hand, Baidu will face off against NPP's Solomon Asumedu on September 2 in a highly anticipated contest. Now let's go on the phone lines and speak to our Eastern Regional Correspondent, Kofi Sian, for more from the constituency. Kofi, so polls have closed. We have a winner, Bernard Bediaku-Baidu. Tell us, what did Bernard Bediaku-Baidu's contenders poll in today's primary?
Okay, so Bernard Bediaku-Baidu, let me say that he is currently the constituency secretary for the NDC in Akotia. He also represented the former MP Henry Wati-Yadom against an Eskumi in court when they were battling for the 2020 election petition in court. And I should say that his win today is a boost for the NDC because the party people were saying that if either Erasmus Ali Kone or Henry Wati-Yadom won the election, there would have been division. So once lawyer Bediaku-Baidu has won, they believe that there will be unity moving forward ahead of the September 2nd by-election.
But you've not given us the figures. What did Bernard Bediaku-Baidu's contenders poll in today's primary? Do you have the figures?
Okay, so the total vote cast was 976. Bernard Bediaku-Baidu has 380. Erasmus Ali Kone had 366. Then the former MP Henry Wati-Yadom, who was battling an Eskumi in court, had 232.
So earlier during the midday news, you gave us a sense of the security during the election. Give us a sense of the security during the election.
Yeah, that is true. There was tight security from the morning and from the entrance of the GCD Walker Park. So once you enter the place and you want to enter the park, you could find so many policemen around the place. I could count more than 100 of them at a point. When you enter the inner perimeter too, you could find a lot of them. They were all armed. So I spoke to the district commander for the area, and he told me that they were rehearsing towards the September 2nd elections because they are taking information that there could be some disturbances in the area.
Of course, the winner has been speaking. What exactly has he been saying?
He has actually not spoken now. As I speak, it is raining over here in Akotia. So I'm sure after the rain, he will speak to the media.
But what has been the reaction of party supporters there?
Okay, so they were jubilating when he left the scene and also when he was declared by the electoral commissioner.
Okay, thank you very much. Kofi Sian, he's our Eastern Regional Correspondent, and he monitored the NDC's primary for us today.
Let's bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Musa Fagbandi. I know he has been on the ground, part of the advanced party that went there, did the groundwork ahead of this particular primary. Joins us on the line right now. Musa Fagbandi, happy with the outcome?
I am very, very excited.
What excites you the most?
Because we as a party have given the opportunity for a candidate emerging out of primaries representing the choice of the people. At this point in time, the candidate that have emerged out of our brothers who have contested the election is one that speaks for purpose, one that, is of standard to replace the unfortunate loss of our brother Ernest Yaokumi. If you look at the pedigree of people who should represent a constituency, you definitely will say that the person's knowledge and credentials add up to the dividends that will take to the constituency. So if you take an MP who goes to sit in parliament for 4 years, 8 years, without impacting on parliament, invariably the person's growth is slow. But if you take somebody who can contribute, somebody who can demonstrate capacity and capability,
then of course the acceleration in terms of impact is very high. And lawyer Bediako have been a constituency secretary, obviously a grassroots person at the constituency. The 2024 election, he was one of the foundations and the pillars behind the election of Kojo, the MP who have lost, the former MP. And so he's at the center of these two other candidates who have contested. And for me, being a lawyer and replacing our demised brother N.S.C. Alkumi, who has just finished his law school and unfortunately leaving us, the NDC is happy to present this candidate as one that have what it takes to attract center of attention and development to the area.
I mean, he won, yes, but the margin is pretty slim. 380 from the reports we're getting from our reporter. 380 he polled. Ali Kone comes in with 366. That's very close. Often when you have a very close contest, you leave people unhappy, but those also disgruntled. The party must close ranks.
No, what it means is that all three candidates were very capable. But there's no election where you have two or more candidates contesting. One person will definitely have to emerge. Now, going into that election, all of us, including the candidate, the three of them knew that after the election today, we are going to share ourselves into teams to ensure that the winner is able to help the NDC to win that seat for the people of Ghana and to also demonstrate a collective rejection and punishment of the MPP for their role in our hardship and pain in the last 8 years. So this is a communal labor, a communal responsibility of all of us. And so we know that all of us at the level of the party are going to come together to ensure that we get the winner elected as a member of parliament in this by-election.
Now, how confident are you that the candidate you have selected today would win the by-election on September 2?
Well, I mean, the MPP obviously have no business going to this by-election in the first place. If you look at the deficit of development in that area, no national executive of the MPP in the last 8 years went to Akotia to even check on development. Akotia is just 45 minutes away from Nanado's backyard, from Achim. Nanado has failed to develop that constituency of 8 years being in power. It is only fair and reasonable that the people will partner with the new government to drive development in the area. And it becomes more accelerative if you have a member of parliament like it's going to happen, so that development can reach out to the people of Akotia in this government. It's only reasonable. Two, the MPP today didn't go to primary. They imposed a candidate on the people of Akotia. They didn't give their party the opportunity to select a popular candidate among them. So you are going to see divergence in terms of even the candidates they have. But today, because we have gone to primaries and we have won and we are going to put ourselves together, you will see us more stronger as a political party than the MPP. So this is what gives me the confidence that the candidate is going to win, plus the credentials of the candidate, both politically and professionally. If you put that together, let the MPP come and talk about the credentials of the candidate they have gone to impose on the constituency.
But Mr. Banda, you don't really need this seat, do you? Already you have a 2/3 majority in parliament. Why is this seat so important for you?
We need this seat to help Ghanaians echo the punishment they want the MPP government, past government and their party to experience for what they have done against the people of Ghana. Number two, it just demonstrates that what they were doing to people in the Volta region is the same way they were maltreating the people in the eastern region. What it also means is that the effect of bad governance is felt across the country. So we need this seat because the people of Ghana will continue to vote against the MPP as a symbol of punishment and rejection of bad governance other than mere politics. And so we need it badly. If we have an opportunity, the MPP should lose even the 80-something that is left, for them to know that as a political party, You cannot be a vehicle that individuals use to suffocate and to destroy the country like they have done and go unpunished. That is why we need a seat badly. We also need a seat because the MP should be able to walk to the Jubilee House, convince the president to take development to the people of Akotia. If their own government in 8 years couldn't help the place, how more would an MP in opposition help the place? So if they vote for the NDC MP in Akotia will be able to reach out to government easily to pull development to the area.
And that day is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mensah Fagbande. Thank you very much talking to us about that developing story with the election of its parliamentary candidate for the Akotia by-election. Let's go to Parliament now, where the minority on Parliament's Economic Committee is accusing banks of deliberately suppressing public demand for dollars to maintain the currency at the official rate set by the Bank of Ghana.
While speaking to journalists, the ranking member of the Economic Committee, Kojo Nkrumah, said the minority supports the central bank's decision to investigate the alleged limitation of forex supply by banks.
That's what the finance minister said, and that's why we told him on the floor that the propaganda won't help you. The facts will not support the argument you are making. They could not also dispute the IMF's argument that in the first quarter they invested about $1.4 billion of our reserves. They dumped it onto the market to try to suppress the currency. They could not dispute it. They said they didn't have the most recent data, but then they will work to get the data. And then we asked them to give us historicals, which they will be bringing as well. On the matter of shortage of currency, it was a bit contentious. In one breath, the governor argues that the Bank of Ghana thinks that there's no shortage. In another breath, he does not dispute the argument from the traders that they are not getting the dollars. And so they are beginning to suspect that the banks are not trading all that they have to trade, or that some of the banks may be holding Forex in their nostro accounts. And that's why they have announced that they will interrogate that. Again, I asked him a specific question. Have they noticed any breach in the net operating positions of the banks or the application of the nostro account rules? They could not say they had noticed any breach. And so we put it to him that if you can't see any breach, then why do you suspect that the banks are, not putting all their Forex on the market? For which reason you have had to come and intervene. We are of the view that what the traders are saying is true, and that the banks are, doing what they have to do. The traders suspect that the banks are suppressing demand by using this documentation argument, and in so doing, matching the suppressed demand to the supply so that the currency will stay at the official rate they've put it. And we put it to him. He said, well, what they are doing is that they are examining the nostro accounts, and then they are also going to keep a closer eye on the net operating positions on Forex of the banks. We think that's fair.
Well, he also claimed that the recent stability of the cedi is as a result of the policies implemented by the administration. And
They admitted a number of things. Number one, that the cedi is performing well, mostly because our external side is robust. In fact, when we checked the details of the data, you will find out that gold prices have shot up by about 43% as against the same time last year. But in terms of volumes, there has not been a significant change or even a doubling of our gold exports. It is the price that has changed, and the price has changed mostly because of the things that are happening on the uncertainty side on the global market. The government hasn't done anything about it. The price has gone up by about 43%. Incidentally, you notice that our cedi has appreciated by about 42%. On the cocoa side, it was clear that the major increase in cocoa exports, coupled with about a doubling of the cocoa prices, is the reason for which we are earning a lot more from cocoa. Again, it's obvious that the government has not planted and harvested cocoa in the 6 months. So if the volumes are up and the prices are up, it's understandable where it all came from. So the governor admitted that the major reason for which we are experiencing a bump is because the external side has done very well. It's also been robustly supported by the gold purchase program, which was started in 2021. In fact, I asked him a specific question. Between 2016 and 2023, gold earnings went up just about 50%, but in 2023 and 2024 alone, it shot up by another about 50%. And the answer was that it's mostly because of the gold purchase program.
But the chairman of the committee, Eric Affle, has dismissed claims that there is shortage of dollars on the market.
Actually, he has proven all doubt that people should not be scared about any shortage in the market. We have built a lot of reserves, forest reserves, to meet any contingency. We have good shocks which can, move on any turbulence, being internally or externally. So people should not fear about the shortage of the Forex in this country.
And they talk about the fact that, yes, there's no shortage, but they've increased scrutiny of documents of importers. How different is that from what you used to exist? Because these are same importers operating under the previous.
That is better. That is better. You see, they are doing this to avoid dumping of unnecessary goods and services in the country. That will have effect on your dollar. You see, I used to speak a lot on trying to make sure that our export sector stand resolute, become strong, than the importation of goods and services. Meanwhile, you want to draw a lot of programs that reduce import and increase export. You know that during the presentation of the media budget review, we said that the import duties have gone down. What does it mean? It means that we are coming out with prudent economic policies that will drive export and reduce import. Have you heard of any shortage of any product or service in the country recently? No. But yet, import is coming down. So it means that we are moving up. Okay.
Well, remember that this issue about the shortage of dollars from the banks first emerged based on allegations that we heard from the importers, also traders, that they were having difficulties accessing dollars from the banks despite the recent stability of the city. Let's bring in Joseph Obing. He's the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. He joins us on the line right now. Mr. Obing, so are your members still struggling to access dollars from the banks?
It's becoming extremely difficult to access this Forex from the mainstream banks. The trading that we do, the transactional rate that we get is derived from the black market or the Forex bureaus instead of the mainstream banks, because that's about 70% of our transactional rate is derived from the black market. Yeah.
And when you go to the banks, what explanations do they have?
Okay, so mostly you want to transfer money to your suppliers, and then it is delayed, sometimes a week, 2 or 3, and that's what people have to contend with. And that's true. That's the reason why we met with Bank of Ghana. The governor assured us that there is enough for us not to be panicked, but it's still persistent, and we don't know why.
But the banks themselves, do they give you an explanation at all when they delay in making the banks themselves? Do they give you an explanation at all when they delay in making the transfers for you?
Yeah, normally they would say that if you want, they will also apply to the central bank for you. And but this, the auctioning was there before. It has always been the same. It hasn't changed. So we don't know why now we find the same processes of acquiring the forest. We cannot get it now. And before, it used to be the same system. It's not that any system has been changed, the same way they do the auctioning. So that's why we were questioning the Bank of Ghana at the other time, that is it that there are some bigger entities that are swallowing the forest to the detriment of the ordinary businesses, or we should find a way to track the flow of the forest to the mainstream banks, because otherwise we don't understand why we can't access these forests unlike we do before.
So you're now relying on the black market, I presume.
I've told you over 70% of our transactional rate is derived from black market and the forest bureaus, and that's what we've been transacting with.
Where the rates are obviously higher than what you get at the
yes. So normally, if you say that we have gotten the gains from the stability of the currency and the prices are not following suit, what we say is that what benchmark rate are you using? Are you using the interbank rate, or you are using the black market rate? And we are almost all of us using the black market rate. And so the earlier we find a reason. I heard that other people are saying that it's through documentation and all that. Those of us who do not have documents in the time past have never gone to bank because they have a way of transacting. They have a way of doing their transfers through the offshore systems and the black market, the allergies and all that. We have a way to do that. Any person who goes to the bank to do transfer is a person who is ready with documents and all that. And these are the people who are not getting the Forex. And so we have to find out why.
Thank you very much, Joseph Obing. He's the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. John Owa joins us right now. He is the president of the Association of Banks and joins us on the line right now. I'm grateful, Mr. Owa, for your time here on Newsnight. I wonder if you can shed some light on the challenges the banks are having now in providing Forex to our traders and those in need of it in bulk. We've just been speaking there to the Guta president who says, yes, facing significant challenges when they come to the banks and requesting for Forex to transact business abroad. What's happening? What's the challenge?
Thank you. Thank you very much. The issue we are facing now as a community, particularly in the area of FX supply, has a lot to do with the change in the operational framework. How banks used to access the Forex from the central bank, hitherto were going for the auction. Once you win the auction, with the documents that are available to you, you are supplied the dollars, then that enables you to also meet the requirements of your customers. Unfortunately, now, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but the new process is that if you receive documents for perhaps a transfer and you use those documents to bid for at the auction, the central bank wants to review these documents before the auction results are met, or when you are successful. So what it means is the bank will be unable to act until feedback is received from the central bank that for these transactions that you submitted, of which you won the auction, these documents are okay. You can proceed to undertake the transfer, and they will supply you the FX for you to do that. And mind you, along somewhere around 2023, the central bank took a step which we thought was a temporary step, which unfortunately has become a permanent fixture, which has significantly impacted the supply of Forex to the bank. You will recall that around that time, it was announced that all Forex inflows from the oil sector and also from the telecom sector and also the mining sector should all, instead of coming through the banks, should all directly go to central bank. So what that did was to immediately truncate a significant portion of the supply of Forex that usually would have come through the banking system to help facilitate the demands from our customers and to meet the requirements of the trading community. That is lost. Now we go through the auction process. Yes, we have the data to support the fact that remittance flows have also improved, but in the last few weeks to maybe a month or two, we've observed some level of stress within the remittance environment. We don't know where the flows are going, and the supply of remittance flows to the banks have really dwindled. So there are a bit of concerns here and there. I wouldn't characterize that as shortage, but I think there are operational concerns that we've already written to the central bank, which we hope that those operational lapses or concerns will be addressed so we can improve the supply to the market and to remove the fears and the lack of confidence that is potentially building that may unduly put pressure again on our currency.
And the BOG, have you heard from them yet since you wrote to them?
I got a note from the governor offline, but we are yet to have a formal response from the central bank on the matter. But we are billed to meet the governor and his team on, I believe, 12th of this month, following the MPC meetings we are definitely going to have to discuss some of these concerns, and I'm sure after that meeting we'll have a clear way forward.
So categorically, the banks are not creating an artificial shortage, deliberately holding back.
No bank. I mean, we are in the business of intermediation. If you don't supply the FX, how are you going to undertake the business of banking? There is no intentional strategy or an approach by the banks to limit the supply of FX. Banks that have supply from other sources, from their normal export proceeds and other interventions within the market, they are able to meet the needs of their customers. But obviously, there are some customers that are in the pipeline awaiting approval of auction results and documentation supporting the auction from the central bank. Once those documentations are approved and we are given the all clear to undertake those transactions, obviously the FX will be supplied by the central bank and the banks will do what they have to do. That's why we are there. And so there is no intentional attempt by the banking industry. We don't gain anything from it. We have everything to lose by intentionally withholding supply of FX to the market.
Thank you very much. That there is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ewa. So listen to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM.
I will tell you how the demand for 2 to 3 years rent advance has forced a father of 3 to raise his ever-expanding family in one of Accra's most neglected slums, where he faces the possibility of eviction every single day. We'll bring you more on that story, but right now, George Yafi joins us with business.
Well, coming up in business, government rolls out additional measures to support cocoa farmers after announcing an increase in producer price to 3,228 Ghana cedis. And the governor of the Bank of Ghana, when he appears before the Economic Committee of Parliament, is assuring that they have adequate dollars to meet market demands as they are taking measures to deal with the sudden dip in remittance inflow from April this year, as well as concerns among the business community. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Ah, Ma, have you received the delivery?
Sis, yeah, the rider's bay. Send in a momo.
Okay, *176.
Ah, pow call. Don't you use a smartphone? Use a momo app, ne?
Huh? Up.
Hey, I want to say a millennium, say millennial. Inim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Oh, you're smart. And oh, you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302-551-917 or 0302-551-918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast, University Book Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Cavity protection.
This advert is FDA approved.
Ama, big news! Star Oil is now the largest oil marketing company in Ghana.
Wow, that's huge!
Yes, so the largest distributor of petroleum products in Ghana. Ever since I switched to Star Oil, my car runs smoother. The fuel lasts longer, no strange engine sound, just clean, powerful performance.
Oh, same here. I used to refill every 3 days until I switched to Star Oil. Now, my fuel lasts way longer. I don't know what magic is inside, but my car loves it.
Exactly. It's not magical. From Accra to Kumasi to Tamale, Star Oil day everywhere with 240 filling stations and counting. That's why more Ghanaians are choosing Star Oil.
Hey, my tank is almost empty. I am heading to Star Oil right now before the queue starts.
I'm right behind you, Amma.
We set out with a mission to serve better and lead boldly. We're proud to say we are Ghana's #1 oil marketing company. To our loyal Star savers across the country, thank you for believing in us. Star Oil, quality and affordable fuels for all.
Every mosquito standing run away.
This advert is FDA approved.
And welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government has announced a fresh set of measures aimed at supporting cocoa farmers in the country. Now, this will include free cocoa fertilizer to the farmers. Now, this is coming after government increased the producer price from the current 3,100 Ghana cedis per 64 kilobag to 3,228 cedis. Finance Minister Arthur Forson has been speaking at a news conference in Accra today.
Beginning this crop year, President Mohammed's administration will supply the following for you for free. Free cocoa fertilizer, both liquid and granular. Free insecticides, free spraying machines, free fungicides, and free flower inducers to the cocoa farmer. Government strongly advises cocoa farmers to apply these inputs solely for the purpose of improving your cocoa yields.
And that was Finance Minister Arthur Forson. Meanwhile, government has announced that it has introduced a tertiary education scholarship scheme for children of cocoa farmers. According to government, it is also subsidizing, it has actually subsidized farmers with some 1,114 cedis since the second quarter of this year. And also the new cocoa producer prize season will start from this Thursday, August 7. Now, the Bank of Ghana, Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has given the firm assurance that it has adequate dollars to meet the needs of the market. The latest assurance follows concerns from businesses that they are struggling to get foreign exchange from commercial banks. But the governor maintains that they believe the problem is coming from the side of the commercial bank. The governor gave this assurance when he appeared before the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament today. He after spoke to journalists at Parliament.
The law that we operate with is an act of Parliament. So it's good for us to interact with Parliament, we share ideas, and see how to, do our work better. So it's been a very useful interaction with them.
Finally, before you go, how do you see somebody who says you should be at the central bank now trying to at least keep getting our city appreciating, but you are here addressing members of parliament?
No,
this is taking you from your busy schedule.
No, not at all. It's a requirement under our law. Every half year, we are required to brief, parliament. And so that's exactly what we have done. It's not a bother at all.
How are we going to see the stability of the CD going to for some time? Because the fear has been that there's scarcity on the market, and people are afraid, business people are afraid that they are unsure whether it's artificial, whether we're going to have it sustained. From where you are,
we just read our monetary policy statement, the MPC statement that we issued last week. It tells it all. There's no reason why there should be stability. The macro situation is stable. And barring any new shocks, any unforeseen shocks, the stability must continue. Thank you. Sorry?
Back to the end of the year?
The stability must continue. We don't see why there should be pressures now.
And there's no short-term measure?
No, not at all. It's all addressed in the MPC statement. So go and read that statement.
And that is the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, speaking to journalists after engaging members of the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament today. Meanwhile, the ranking member on Parliament's Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Nkrumah, says the assurance and answers vindicate a lot of things that they've been talking about the economy and the cities. Also argued that the governor indeed confirmed that there was a gold for oil program being supported by the Bank of Ghana.
So the governor admitted that the major reason for which we are experiencing a bump is because the external side has done very well. It's also been bossily supported by the gold purchase program, which was started in 2021. In fact, I asked him a specific question. Between 2016 and 2023, gold earnings went up just about 50%, but in 2023 and 2024 alone, it shot up by another about 50%. And the answer was that it's mostly because of the gold purchase program. So these are the reasons, the major reasons for which the currency is, seeing this rebound. But they themselves admit that they cannot be forever sure that the external side will perform this way. And therefore, they are starting a program to hedge about 1/3 of our gold. They also admitted that there was a gold for oil program, and that the gold for oil program resulted in about $1.7 billion of oil imports into the Republic. And he even gave us a percentage of that was done through barter, and then the other percentage that was done through the trading of the gold for Forex, which was used to finance it. So contrary to the argument that there was no gold for oil program, we said over and over again, if there was no program, what do you suspend? Today, the Bank of Ghana has given us the data, $1.7 billion of oil imports as a result of the gold for oil program.
Contrary to what?
And that is the ranking member on Parliament's Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Nkrumah. Now, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Brako, has revealed that the country is working to fully take advantage of China's zero import tariff for all African countries. The Chinese government earlier this year announced this move as part of measures to win over more African countries in the wake of the tariff hikes by the U.S. government. Now, speaking at the launch of the 4th Made in Ghana Bazaar, the minister said government is working with partners to explore economic ties with the Middle East and Asian countries.
My ministry intends to work closely with our partners, such as the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Association of Ghana Industries, NGNCCI, among others, to fully take advantage of this offer. Equally, we will, together with our partner MDs, seek to strengthen our commercial and other economic activities within the framework of our South-South cooperation. In that regard, our focus will be to explore and strengthen more economic and business ties with the Middle East and Asian countries, while enhancing our trading and economic activities with other African countries.
Samuel Kojo Blakwa is the Foreign Affairs Minister to the stock market. If you were a shareholder of MTN Ghana, it was up by a peso to close at 3 Ghana cedis, 56 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
No, thank you very much. We can do Sports Line, Granting, with the latest.
Let's do some Ghana Premier League stories where BBN Gold Stars will begin the defense of their title at home against Bechim United following the release of the calendar for the 2025-26 season. The Miners won the league title last season, beating Nations FC, Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Lions to the coveted trophy. Accra Hearts of Oak aiming to bounce back from a subpar campaign last time around, hoping their season at home against newly promoted Hoho United, while arch rivals Asante Kotoko travel to Brecum Chelsea in their opening encounter. Matchday 1 also features intriguing away assignments for former champions Midiama, who visit Young Apostles, while FC Samatex make a trip to Vision FC. It's now just 5 days to the Joy Sports Invitational happening this Saturday at the University of Ghana Stadium in Lekon. Evans, last year I saw your race against Muftar Nabila. wasn't necessarily the best. I really hope.
What do you mean by wasn't necessarily the best?
You lost, then Muftar failed.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost because Muftar actually had a false start.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't picked up, so he ended the race. But this year, first of all, we need to make sure that if it's a false start, you catch it and stop it so that we can restart properly. But this year, I'm doing the 200, and then when I'm done, I want to do the entire field.
God bless you, Evans. This year's edition is sponsored by Royal Sweet Limited, Ayuda Game Energy Drink, Emigo Ghana, and the Luckiest. That's all for sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much.
So, Evans, I'm just asking, how many years rent advance did your landlord ask you to pay the first time you went searching?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes,
Well,
2 years. I don't know why I got the money, but I found the money to pay. 2 years, yes.
Well, so the demand for 2 to 3 years rent advance, just as you stated, has pushed Gustav to the edge of eviction. In a single overcrowded room at Konkomba, one of Accra's most neglected slums, the 28-year-old delivery rider stretches every cedi just to provide shelter for his family. Kenneth Jesse has more in today's episode of our Habitat series.
Gustav Kesse is a senior high school graduate who left Bando for Accra as a teenager in search of a better life. Now 28, he's a husband, father of 3, and a delivery rider, trying to make something out of life from within the slums of Kokomba. For the past 12 years, this cramped room, barely large enough for a mattress, ceiling fan, and a few personal belongings, has been home to Gustav and his growing family.
The issue about Bando is there's no income there, there's no way that I can do. Because normally my food is delivery. That's what I do. So that's what I know how to do best. And back at Bando, there is nothing you can do like that. Unless maybe farming or something like that. Yeah, I've been here for 12 years.
Yeah,
I stay with my wife and 3 kids.
So all the kids were born in this room?
Yeah, I think two was born. Yeah.
He pays 320 Ghana cedis a month, collected in weekly installments of 80 cedis, for this narrow wooden single room in a crowded compound. 17 other tenants live upstairs, with as many living downstairs. Rent collection here is strict. Miss just a week's payment and you risk being thrown out.
Yeah, I pay rent.
How much?
80 cedis a week. Everybody pays. Yeah, I think we have about 18 on one line, 18 behind. The biggest challenge living here is the pressure in paying the rent. Because if you default for a week, they have to come and lock your place. And if you default for 2 weeks, by the time you come, they'll just pack your things out. Initially, when I came here and I was new, by the time when I default for maybe a week or 2, by the time I come, they lock my place. They have to send my wife and kids out when I come back. Either I send them money or I come back and talk to the landlord before he opens and allow them in.
When was the last time such a thing happened?
I think it was maybe last year, September.
The place is untidy, noisy, and above all, unsafe.
Sometimes the smoke from they normally send fire down there, so the smoke comes in. Normally we have some insects here, but the guy has to defigure the place. That's why it's like we are not witnessing that, and the place is not tidy.
Gustav has tried many times to move his family out, but landlords demanding 2 to 3 years rent in advance have priced him out of a better home. His motorbike, acquired through a work and pay arrangement, brings in just enough for him to save about 700 cedis a month, still far short of what is needed to afford a new place.
Let's assume you are making the 200 cedis, but you can't save all the 200 cedis. The expenses and all that you do daily, you should just be saving 50 Ghana. So maybe at a month, if I could save, then maybe that's 700 so I can save a month. Because when I try renting and they said, for the least I can get is 200 cedis, and he is taking 3 years, where am I going to get that money from? So it made me lose hope, and I felt comfortable at a point here because there's no way I'm going to get that money. So I felt comfortable, thinking maybe if I work, I can be paying the 80 cedis a week. I think I can be doing that. That was why I think I'll be here, but I think now I have to move.
Despite working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, what he earns barely feeds his family, let alone helps him save the thousands of cedis required for rent advance. He partly blames the rent system for failing people like him.
Yeah, I work every day, excluding Sundays. Sundays I go one and I go off the following one. Normally I have to go 8:30 and I close at 8 p.m. Yeah, I go to 8 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. It has fed a whole lot of youths, not only me, it has fed a whole lot of youths. Let's assume someone is working and earning 1,500. How do you expect the person to get 500 cedis a month for 2 years or 3 years? You can't get that money to pay the rent. So at least what you can do is maybe afford a slum or maybe a wooden structure at some point and manage, or not completed, but then manage that. Because I'm really tired. I'm really tired of staying here. Because of that, my friends don't come here. Because the last time I even spoke to a friend and he was saying like, oh, even where you stay, you can't come and visit you. So maybe when I'm home, that's why I go to visit my friends. But they can't come to me because where I stay.
Despite all these challenges, the man from Kwando, who lost both parents at a young age, remains defiant. He hopes that once he finishes paying for his motorbike, which is in about a year's time, he will finally be able to secure a decent home for his family. From the slums of Kokomba in Accra, my name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
And Kenneth talks about securing a decent home. You want certainly to get one of those, and you want to join us. The next Habitat Fair is at the Accra Mall at the end of September, and you can get a sweet deal. You're paying 2 years rent advance, as Pearl possibly paid. Or Pearl, you still stay with your parents? You pay 2 years?
I don't stay with my parents.
Okay.
Yes.
You pay rent advance 2 years?
Yes, I pay to myself.
Okay, good.
To myself.
Good. You can actually rent to own, so they can stop paying the rent. And you want to join the...
of course, I will be there.
Yes, end of September, Accra Mall.
So the Ghana Education Service has sounded the alarm on the disturbing trend of examination malpractices sweeping through senior high schools in the Ashanti region. A staggering 76 out of 144 schools have been implicated in various forms of cheating, casting a dark shadow over the integrity of the examination process.
Well, we've been speaking to the Public Relations Officer of the Ashanti Regional Education Directorate, Henry Osei Boating, and he's been talking to us about what really has been accounting for the challenge. He spoke to my colleague, Ohim Interior.
The exam malpractice itself, for example, when you go round, you may not be able to identify that there's a widespread of exam malpractices. But based on the scripts that were marked last year, we were able to find out that at least about 70 schools in Ashanti region, out of the 144 schools that we have, about 70 of them had one or two papers cancelled. And that gives us the idea that the examination of practice was going on in Ashanti region. And that is why there was a need for us to work on it.
50%.
Yes, that's what we can say, about 50%.
Well, you can find more on that story, plus others, across our digital platforms on Facebook, on Twitter, on X, even on TikTok, but also on myjoyonline.com. That's it for News Night tonight. My name is Mensah.